Alright, first I want to give Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawah.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
Barakatah Yahawashi.
So Kafala Yahawashi Yahawashi. Baha Shem Josh. Double honor to the elder apostle, that great melter who rule well, and still citation of Akim that put to the truth across the four corners of the earth, across the four corners of the earth to the spirit and power of Yahawashi. That'll be a hopeful elect. It's all about the elect at the end of the day, right? And also citation of the Israelite foreigner that is scattered among all the nations in the four corners of the earth that believe in the name of Yahawashi. So first we're gonna get into you know, what is America in the scriptures? People don't think that America is talked about or written about in the scriptures. Through property, what it is about, and the end and the downfall of America is all in the scriptures, from front to back. So we're gonna bring out what is America in the scriptures. So get that, because when you read like Babylon the Great or the Great City, all those are keyword or word that's talking about America. You know, you're not gonna find America in the scriptures. You're not gonna find United States in the scriptures, right? And this was written over thousands of years ago. So through property and knowing the attribute or what these the scriptures talking about, we can identify it as today America. Go ahead.
Ready? Okay, this is Revelation 17. I'm gonna start it.
Yeah, start at the top.
Oh, the brother each and one. Yeah. It says, and there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me,
this is John the Revelator. Go ahead.
Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore.
And you gotta understand, a lot of the chapters in Revelation are going in and out of time, you know? So basically the angel like, I'm gonna show you the judgment of this whore that sitteth on the water. We're gonna tell you later on in the chapter what the water's talking about, right? But first we're gonna go into what that whore is. But we're gonna keep on reading, and then we're gonna jump back to why that whore will receive the judgment. Go ahead.
I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters,
right?
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Why? Because that whore have that cup in her hand, right? And in that cup is what? Idolatry, homosexuality, democracy, covetousness. All those things is in the cup, in that golden cup. We're going to tell you later on in the chapter. Go ahead.
Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
And see, that's the image right here. It's not an actual beast that has 7 heads with 10 horns, and an actual woman riding upon the beast. No, it's all symbolic of what it's talking about. So you see on here, you got the whore and scarlet-colored clothing, right? And purple block is on the scarlet-colored beast, which is red, crimson, whatever, all the same color of red. See? That's what it's talking about. The beast is talking about the EU and the NATO. The whore is America. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colored, and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand.
America. Can we read in the other scripture? I'll get that real quick. That the great city in Revelation. I forgot what that chapter is. Because people think America is this great place, you know, this something magnificent and whatnot. You know, some people think America was free with paved with gold and stuff. Right?
And this is Revelations 18 to 21. And actually, is this it? I might even take up the instruction in that.
Let's go straight to the point. Okay, we can go back to that where we're talking about the judgment.
Which one's it up?
Should be
18. This is Revelations 18 and 18. And cried when they saw the smoking of her burning, saying, what city is like unto the great city? And they cast down on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing.
Yep.
A 10? God. This is Revelations 18 and 10. Stand far off for the care of her torments, saying, alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is...
that mighty city, that great city, because America is a great city. That's why, read that part again, like the pearl and all that.
And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having heads, 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand.
See, the precious stone and stuff. That's talking about that great city. That's still on that. Read 7 heads, so we're going to the 7 heads.
Okay, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great.
See, so this is the mystery. This beast right here was the mystery, right? Babylon the Great. It's talking about America, cause you got ancient Babylon and you got this Babylon talking about America. We're not talking about ancient Babylon, right? So we go to the secret unto the mystery, unto the preserving the property, cause this had to be revealed to understand the image. It had to be broken down, and that was broken down to the spirit, to the Rakakadosh, and that's how we were able to learn from our elders, who they had learned from. They were able to break this down to the spirit. Get that?
This is Romans 3 and 7.
Oh, Amos. The one we go to the secret to the service property. See? So this is a mystery. But it's still a mystery to a lot of people in the world, because you have God that's trying to break it down, they break it down wrong. They haven't received the mystery to break down who the beast is talking about in Revelation 17. Because it's not meant for everybody to receive that mystery. Go ahead.
This is Amos 3 and 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing but revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets. The lion hath roared, who will not fear? YAHAWASHI, our power hath spoken, who can but prophesy?
And that's what we do here at Great Millstone. Starting with the elder apostle on down, we are here to prophesy. And we tell you the property of the beast. We tell you who the beast is, because John, he prophesied about the beast coming out of the water. You know, we'll talk about the people later on in the chapter. So everything was already prophesied, but now it's time to get the breakdown, the understanding who the beast is, who the whore is. Right? Go ahead.
It says, the mother of harlots.
She's the mother of harlot, man. It's the madam whore.
Yeah.
If you want to say.
Yeah.
You know? Go ahead.
And abominations of the earth.
It's the abomination of the earth. America is the most abominable place on earth. Because why? You got homosexuality thrive here, pedophilia thrive, idolatry, blasphemy, all those things thrive here in America. Yeah. We make it a most abominable place here in America. Yep. Or in the world, the most abominable place in the world. Got it?
I got it. Well, I just got the description down.
And I saw the woman among the saints.
Get that?
Daniel?
Yeah. You got to preach?
This is Isaiah chapter 42, verse 9. It says, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them.
And that's the prophecy. Before they spring forth, he's telling you of these. And that's what we're telling you, John the Revelator telling us that this was already prophesied, man. The EU and the NATO was already prophesied before it happened.
Right.
2,000 years before the EU was even thought of, or the NATO was thought of, or America, right? So now that it's all here and prophecy been fulfilled, right?
Like that king, that beast right there, that was an empire that came back into reincarnation. That's part of the former things. The thing with the ancient Roman Empire, you know, coming back today as the modern, as we know today as America. So that's part of the things that we're declaring when we come out here, which is, you know, which is prophecy. So that's the main thing. We come out here, you know, yeah, we tell our people who they are. You know, we tell them that they're Israelites, they need to repent, get right. But also we're mainly going to the prophecy, which is going to lead to us being delivered out of here.
Yep. Go ahead. Because there's still more scriptures where America identified in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Yep. And this is Daniel 7 and 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man.
So America is a little horn that came out of another horn, which is the UK, right? The UK is one that you can say birthed America, right? Go ahead.
And were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things.
That's talking about the American political structure. You know, the Democrat Republican. Yeah, keep going.
And actually it goes into just the Most High. Want to do that? Behold, till the thrones were cast down.
Now we just get that part, you know, that little horn.
Yeah. So I'll read that part again. This is verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
And on top of that, because you had the before America was America, you had the 13 colonies that came over from the UK, from Britain. They set up shop over here, right? That's why they had the whole the red coat, the British Army Wars. You know, that further proved that America came up out of the UK or out of the Britain. Because Britain is one of the horns. The British, well, it's actually one of the heads. Because the horn, you have 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So you gotta realize that one of the 10 horns is the UK and Ireland.
They show you that in that movie Patriot with Mel Gibson, the Revolutionary War. They show the red coats versus the blue coats. That's talking about that time period, the 1700s.
Yeah, in the 1700s. Because America, quote unquote, got their independence in 1776. You know. Now we're going to go to Revelation 13.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep. I'm going to start at Revelation 13 and 2. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And
read it all over again.
It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Talk about the Greek. Go ahead.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Talking about the Russian. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
We're talking about the Britain, right? The mouth of the lion. Talking about the Britain, right? Go ahead.
And the dragon gave him power.
And the dragon
gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Right.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
One of the head was wounded to death. The Roman head was wounded to death. Go ahead. You got to remember the beast is a whole conglomerate of different nations and whatnot. All these Edomite countries. Go ahead.
And all the world wondered after the beast. That's like. And his deadly wound was healed.
And his deadly wound was healed. How was it healed? What was it? 1949. Yeah. No, not before that. Look up the EU when it was established. Don't get the actual date. You know, through the EEC with the European the EEC with the European Economic Community was established by what? The Treaty of Rome.
It was in 1957, the United Nations was founded after World War II in San Francisco.
See? There you go. That's one aspect of it.
Yep, and then the European Economic Community was established in 1945.
See, so 1945, the European what?
The European Union, the EEC, the European Economic Community was established in 1945.
Right.
And then 1949, NATO established on April 4th, 1949 in Washington, D.C.
Okay, look up the Treaty of Rome.
Yep.
That's basically the daily room being, read it again. The daily room being healed.
It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed.
Like it was rooted to death by what? Esau falling off of his power seat, right? Let's get that real quick in Revelation. They were put into the bottomless pit. So you gotta understand time period, man. Esau wasn't just, why do you think they call it the Renaissance period? The daily room being healed.
And the rebirth.
The rebirth. Rebirth of what? And he was always in power. Why he had to have a Renaissance period? Why he had to be reborn? Right.
The points in Revelations 9 and 2, but I'm going to start at 9 and 1. Revelations 9 and 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
That's talking about the bottomless pit. It's talking about the Europe.
Yep.
You know?
When you look into Europe, right there, especially around where Switzerland's at, right in the heart, that's where Esau, when he came back in the power out of the Renaissance, when he came back out of the Caucasus Mountains, that's basically where his stronghold was, right? That's where he started
migrating west.
Yep, exactly. And marrying into these royal families. Because again, during that time, in the 1300s, you had all of the Southern Kingdom, the so-called Negroes, ruling Europe, right? That's why these devils call that time, the Middle Ages, they call it the Dark Ages,
yep.
Right? But they started marrying into the royal lines because these Edomites had started getting money, starting up banking families. Look up the Medici family,
yeah.
Right? They became extremely wealthy, and they paved the way for the Borgias to get into the Vatican and eventually take over,
yeah.
and remake the image of God.
Yep, by covenant and by bribery. They were doing all that stuff.
Exactly.
You know? And before the Renaissance period, you had the
a little louder, bro, so these brothers can hear.
the Renaissance is also called the reconquest, reconquering what was once governed by the Roman Empire. I got it. Go ahead.
This Malachi 1 and 3, or actually 1 and 4. Whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
Right, he was impoverished in what? When one of the head was wounded to death. That's when he was impoverished. Going back, going into that, into the cave, up into the mountain and stuff.
Caucasus Mountains.
Yep, in the Caucasus Mountains. And then coming back into power. Yep. This is when he started building up. Go ahead.
Yep.
So ever since he came out of the bottomless pit, he's been rebuilding and rebuilding up until now. Right. He's still building.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thus says YAHAWAH of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And
so basically, Yahawah by the way his son YAHAWASHI gonna throw down America, man. Right? That's what we talk about we talk about in Daniel vision that stone cut without hand. Thrown down at the feet. Yep. That's when they're gonna be thrown down, man. That's when Babylon gonna go down. Yep. And that's the horror judgment that's talked about in Revelation 17 also. You have more than that, or that was it?
Just a little bit more. It says, and I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness.
Right, Esau's the border of wickedness, going back to the abomination of the whore, right? So wherever Esau is at, man, that he's a border of wickedness. Yep. And America is pushing its wickedness and that abomination all over the earth, man. Yep. To the point where you got homosexuality and LGBT communities up in India now and stuff.
Yep. And the thing is, too, check this out. If these other nations that are part of the EU or the UN won't get down with Esau's laws about homosexuality or transgender or all that stuff, what does Esau do? He holds food and aid from them, man. That's why these other nations who fornicate with Babylon the Great, America, and partake in her wickedness are gonna receive the same judgment because they're doing the same thing Babylon wants them to do.
Yep. Right.
That you call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom YAHAWASHI has indignation forever.
Right, though, the Lord Yahawah try to have a right anger with Esau, man.
Yep.
Tell you, John, that he hated Esau, man. There's no place to repent for Esau.
That's right.
Go back to
Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel. Wait, no, we read that already. Go back to that Revelation 13.
Okay, right. It says, and I saw one of his hairs as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
So his deadly wound was healed. You look up the Treaty of Rome.
This is Wikipedia Treaty of Rome. It says the treaty on the functioning of the European Union.
And that's how the EU was created, by the Treaty of Rome. Why was it called the Treaty of Rome?
Right.
Because the Roman Empire came back.
Yep.
It came back in the form of the EU and the NATO. But guess who controlled the Roman Empire, the new Roman Empire? The whore that's riding the beat, with America.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Right. It says the treaty on the functioning of the European Union is one of the two treaties.
It's a function in the European Union, right? Because before it was the EU, it was what? It was just a whole bunch of, it was the Roman Empire. That's why it had all these different names. Look up real quick the old names, like the Visigoth. You got the Germanian Major, the Roman, the French, the Spanish, the Germanian Minor, the British, the Greek. But all those had ancient names.
How you gonna find those? You can find those just by Googling?
Yeah, you can find them.
Okay, got it.
I did it a couple times last couple weeks, making videos. Just type in Visigoth, all the other ones pop up. If you know one of them, it will give you all of them.
Oh, okay. If you know one of them, I'll give you all.
Yeah. So that was the Roman Empire is here all over again by the way of the EU and NATO. But not this time, like as before, it was the Romans that were controlling the Roman Empire. Now it's America that came out of Britain. It's controlling the new Roman Empire, which is Babylon the Great, which is America, NATO and the EU. Go ahead.
You got the Anglo-Saxons.
Yep.
The Franks.
Which is the Anglo-Saxon. Go ahead.
The Franks. The Alemanni. Lombards. Burgundians. Ostrogoths. Veroli. Visigoths. Vandals. Sufi.
Yep, and those are the 7 ancient head names. See? That's we were talking about in Revelation 17. That was that's it on that. Now back to the Treaty of Rome.
This is back Treaty of Rome. It says the treaty on the functioning of the European Union is one of the two treaties forming the constitutional basis of the European Union.
See? No, that was the treaty to establish the European Union, which is all prophesied what we're reading about right now. The daily room being on hill again, the 7 heads and the 10 horns. It's all here right now by the way of the Treaty of Rome to establish the EU. There's more than that.
Right. It says the other being the treaty on European Union.
Because at first it was just those countries that entered in the EU. Now you got over 140 something nations that's part of the EU. But it was always established with those 17 countries first. Go ahead.
Right, it says, the other being the Treaty on European Union, the Treaty of Rome brought about the creation of the European Economic Community, the best known of the European communities.
Yep. See? And that's how we got one aspect of daily rule being held. Now get read that part again on your note on the NATO organization. You gotta remember Go ahead.
Jeremiah 49:14. I have heard a rumor from Yahawah, an ambassador is sent unto the heathens, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle.
Yep, so that could happen when World War III kicked off.
Yep.
They're going to rise up to the battle, coincide with Joel 3, Ezekiel 37. All that going to happen, which is forming right now. All this is really taking place right now before our eyes. And also, amidst of that going on, now you have, which is later on in Revelation 17, the beast starting to hate the whore.
Yep.
See? So all that is all coincide right now is for prophecy to be fulfilled.
So in 1945, the European Economic Community, the UN.
No, this is the NATO part.
NATO part. Okay.
You gotta remember the 7 head and the 10 horn is EU and the NATO.
Yep.
Because the EU is inside of the NATO. Go ahead.
On April.
Because America is not part of the EU, but it's a part of NATO, which therefore it still controls the beast, but the EU is the part of NATO. Go ahead.
NATO, the North American Treaty Organization, was established on April 4th, 1949 in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia.
And why was it established in Washington, D.C.? Because Washington, D.C. is one of the 3 city-states, and the Washington, D.C. is, we got that done?
Wicked.
Yeah, that show.
There you go. Right here.
See, Washington, D.C. is the one Esau that control the military and legal power control of NATO EU. That's why America is the whore that sits on the beat. Why? Because whatever NATO do something, it's really the United States that's doing it.
Yep. Check this out too. Washington, D.C., the District of